Yeet and Vibe, where the vibe is yeet and the yeet is vibe. If you like what you hear, please give us a share. And don't forget to check out the links in the notes. Enjoy.
What's good?
The pose from your picture.
I'm like flexing, doing like the
He's got ice in his veins.
icy, dude. That's what the kids are doing.
This is what the kids are doing. Dude, I think I'm finally caught up on my rest after this weekend. I think tonight will be the night that I catch that
Dude, I've
Dude,
been struggling from the dust that was kicked up.
Dude, your
Like
eyes are
drained.
baggy as hell, Jerm.
Dude, I'm so tired, bro.
Holy shit.
That hat's looking clean though.
Oh,
All
yeah.
those just listening in. Is that a Howler Bros? It's an Austin City Limits, kind of like a Roper hat, but that thing with corduroy.
It is corduroy. Howler
Dang.
Brothers.
Dang.
That's like one of those hats that's going to be vintage in 15 years.
Oh yeah.
I'm rocking it tomorrow when I get to the airport. So
It's an instant classic, dude.
I haven't even changed the adjustment. It's,
Sheesh.
I can
Hey,
see my hands in
this podcast sponsored by Rambler.
Ramblers.
Mm.
Is that good?
It's not bad, dude. It's not like a super hard seltzer, sparkling water,
Sparkling water.
like a LaCroix,
Mm.
definitely it's been 11 days, no drinking. It definitely gets that, itch out. You get that little burn in your throat. You're like, all right, I'm
I love
drinking
the burn.
alcohol.
You got to
but
love
I'm
the
not
burn.
really.
Little
I need it.
bubbly
A
sensation.
little bubbly. Waterloos are all right. Just the bar's got Ramblers down here, so that's what I'm been getting on.
They also it's that Liquid Death one's a new big one, right?
Yeah, that's like a
Sparkling water.
can. That's just a can of water, but it's like designed to look like a beer, so you
Bro,
don't feel as weird when you're
It's so
slamming.
stupid. It's like $8 for one can.
Dude, we're getting psyoped on water now, and it look like fucking alcohol.
You
I
gotta-
thought it was an alcohol for the longest time, and then I realized it's just sparkling water.
It's just straight water, dude.
No, yeah, it's just straight agua. I got my glass of water.
Hey, solid. It looks like moonshine.
It's in a moonshine. What's
That's
the
a mason jar.
Mason
Yes,
jar.
sir.
A mason jar. Dang, boys, what's been going on?
Man,
There's a lot going on. There's on Twitter today we saw basically apparently Elon Musk talked to the Kremlin,
yo, he did.
and he
What
was,
was-
Wait.
he's talking about
The
he's talking
Kremlin.
about Russia. Yeah, so the Kremlin is essentially the Russian society military intelligence apparatus. Think of it as their Pentagon. And yeah, he's just saying how a lot of way the Russian, I guess, state security is seeing their red lines in terms of like their no-go or go zones. Because I think if we try to trust our media about what Russia is like trying to forthrightly say, you can't exactly trust them as they're more provoking war rather than trying to de-escalate and like genuinely empathize for diplomacy and negotiations. But he was just saying, like, they keep reiterating these things called Khrushchev's mistake. And a part of Khrushchev's mistake was actually to let Ukraine become independent to begin with. And yeah, I watched a documentary or a video earlier, and I shared it on Instagram with the Economics page. And it was about Nixon basically warning us of this exact same scenario in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny how we just, as American people, we forget these things that we already knew existed. We already knew that they were going to come back. And we're just like acting all surprised, like, oh my God, this is something that just happened. And we got all freak out and react. And the house is on fire when this has been a long time brewing and these ideas are old.
We have goldfish memory. Like we act like they're the protests in Ukraine when it was like the Russia-backed prime minister at the time. If you ask anybody on the street, they're like, what? They're not going to remember that.
No.
It's because we teach stupid stuff in school.
No, I'd rather watch Netflix. Who cares about this? But yeah, he was reportedly spoke to Putin before tweeting his proposal not to end the war. He denies it, of course.
Wait.
So.
Golly, do you think Elon for president?
I'm
you
gonna keep
know.
him on like the tech side. He definitely doesn't have the,
All right.
human intelligence to be able to maneuver those more highly complicated
Covered.
geopolitical stuff. Yeah. Stick to the rockets, stick to the EVs, bro. I want like a JFK style dude back.
Dude, I was reading something on though that looked like President Biden was going to provide like air defense for you to Ukraine, um, to help protect against the airstrikes that Russia is sending on them.
Yeah, I shared a link earlier, and this kind of was boiling a lot of my thinking on like why we're so stupid. I don't want to say stupid because I guess that's a mean way to say it, but like why our consciousness is so resonates so low or just bad in general, because um they striked a missile on the German embassy in Kiev. So they're intentionally like, okay, we don't care about. Russia's like, we know the fights with Germany, NATO, and the U.S. Like Ukraine's just kind of this, small boy in the playground that's like, you know, trying to play top G, and they're not. So I've been really thinking a lot about how we don't remember our history. Our history is not even properly. There's a lot of things that get swept under the rug, and then there's a lot of cause and effect that created what we have today that we act like it doesn't exist. Like we can't. Don't get me wrong. There has to be a united sort of front to defend against Putin, but when we're an American or when we're a French or a German or a Spaniard or a British, and we're like making all these exaggerated hyperbolic remarks against Putin from a moral standpoint, when you ask the rest of the world what they think, like France has assassinated like 23 African presidents. The US has overthrown, I don't even know how many countries since, it's like
Yeah.
this concept of governments and like staying in place, it's arbitrary to strategic interests. So like Ukraine is obviously a strategic interest of NATO and the US for logical reasons, but we can't just have this blind hubris and lack of like just self-awareness that that we do the exact same thing. So it's hard to have those conversations when you can't even have a baseline like morality or decency as humans. Like, hey, we all these top governments in G7 countries do evil stuff. So
yeah, there's a disconnect between the decision makers, the ones actually making the calls and running the show versus the average person. And I think that's a very purposeful move. They can definitely, keep us updated on, what's our moves and as well as our economic conditions, but they choose not to. And is that just to keep us compliant, to not, push against certain plays that we make just to hold the status quo? Maybe. Yeah, just doing even like a base level, surface level, just deep dive into Wikipedia, you can see that. And you try to talk to any other person like at your job or in your friend group, and you're going to look at like, okay, why are you being weird in conspiracy theory, Aaron? I don't see what the point of that is for.
No, I think it's definitely a strategic move by, like the 1% or the higher ups on keeping pretty much everyone out of the loop on what moves are being made. It's just it's simple. It keeps them elite, keeps them having the big stance on over everybody.
And obviously, we call this show Yeet and Vibe, and like there's a Yeet and Vibe hierarchy to society. And like exactly what you're saying, Jeremy, is like they know that through the narratives and the structures that they need the man lower than them on the social status pole to keep pushing down the people lower on their social status than them. And the only way you keep that in play is through these ideological and psychological buy-ins that perpetuate and reinforce the systemic structure. And that's something very hard. These are elements that are hard to really discuss when you see that, when you only view it in a Democrat Republican way or bipartisan or partisan way, because we're talking about like a shadow transmorphic, like ambiguous structure that supersedes that through underhanded means of capital and how it permeates across borders.
Yeah, left and right's just like the face of it, and then that's just like it's a more deeper system of, I guess, ways that, and I'm going to totally butcher the way you can really convey that, but that's just what they present to you, and it's a way more complicated system than that.
It's like that picture meme. Yeah, have y'all seen it? It's like the frontline trooper army guys at the bottom. Then it's like your poor class.
Oh yeah, like a caste pyramid.
And then it's like the business class that are richer. Then it's like the fat guys, and then it's just like a triangle going up, but it's like different classes of people.
Or even just like that iceberg meme that's been done 1,000 times, where it's like, all right, you have the tip of the iceberg is like what the public sees and know. Then you have like the middle of the iceberg, and then you just get to the dark.
Trying to get on the bottom.
Yeah, it's like
where are the see-through fish at?
Yeah.
Where's the giant squid at? Yeah.
I mean, when dealing, and I've been working on myself in the self-improvement journey. I've definitely worked on being more empathetic with people, and just working with just the average person, on like this middle lower section of the totem pole. They're stressed out about it. Like they can't tell what's going on, but they know something's up, and then they just get super stressed out about it, but do nothing to either increase their knowledge, to improve their station, or to improve their like habits.
Right. Yeah, because we're all ensnared in this same global information war, that we're likely seeing the same dichotomies or dynamics that are shaping out in all our families and all our household. Maybe one's like, okay, open to understanding how, a shadow state moves with, global capital. Maybe the other one's like, that's conspiracy. There's no way there's vessels that operate in between G7 federal governments. No way. I don't know. But to me, it's common sense, like to expect that. But yeah, and it's really hard when we have an older generation that primarily got most of their information through the legacy means of media, which is like you just turned on your TV, you only had several channels. That was just how you do it. If you wanted to stay up to date with society and the culture, that's how you did it. And now for us in our age, we're in the internet culture where we have a conscious choice to engage in the communities we're in, engage with the brands we build, engage creators. We can engage businesses. We can deploy our own memes. We can deploy our own brands. We can deploy our own communications, our own organizations, just like at the snap of a finger. Then the legacy mindset of like, hey, go to school, a Department of Education institution your whole lot, or 18 years, then go to a university, then go to corporate, work at that corporate your whole life. And this could kind of segue into the pension conversation we were having a little bit earlier, Vu, but it's like you work with the same corporate your whole time. Back in the day, you used to have a pension. When they started outsourcing all the retirement system and labor class, they started going to the 401k, and pensions primarily became a vessel for government workers to rely on after they retired. But do you want to read that statement from the Bank of England so we can kind of just, whoever's listening in the audience can get an idea of how dire this situation is, on like how illiterate the commoner is to making any rational sense on like why they're saying what they're saying, what that even means, and what do you even do, or how do you even integrate this into like how do you structure your vision, career, your work ethic, and all that.
So Bank of England, Andrew Bailey tells the pension funds that they have 3 days to rebalance their portfolios, and that's Fridays. It's Tuesday this week. What was his statement? He said you have got 3 days left now. You've got to get this done. It's basically their bond buying back program. It's no longer happening after Friday, so it doesn't give them a lot of time to work with, to be quite honest.
That's
so I'm going to try to explain like I'm 5 this situation. So imagine you have person A and person B. Both people operate under a government nation state market structure that's regulated, has controls, and we're talking about big banks and investment organizations and institutions. Basically, the Central Bank of England is telling the biggest person A and B that run the huge institutional pension funds that manage the retirements for government workers that they're no longer going to buy their own government securities to prop up the market. The way all these pension systems, primarily of Europe, all they buy is government debt. So they buy bonds because it's the less risky and it's the less volatile asset. And it's just traditionally what you do and trusted. Fun fact, the Rothschilds in England actually invented the bond system like several hundred years ago. And in a nutshell, the central bank's telling these huge funds, hey, we're going to stop doing this fugazi of free market stuff that's really centrally planned, just bond buying to fill capital requirements. And you're going to have to figure it out. And then the pensions are going to be, how are we going to figure this out?
Who's going to buy it?
It's like a heroin addict that's like been doing heroin for hundreds of years, and or especially since 2008, and they're like, what do you mean no heroin?
Yeah, like government sponsored, state heroin, and now you have 3 days to figure out where you're going to get it. Now you have no one else that's going to buy it for you,
and they're the only ones that's like really the only place they make heroin. Yeah,
you're fucked. You're gonna have a meltdown.
That's what people are fearing. But of course, immediately we get articles like the Bank of England, quote unquote, unnecessarily spooks the market. Dollar to get even stronger. This is from Forbes.com. So already running the counter psyop. Like,
oh my God. And I could, and when I hear that headline, Aaron, the immediate thing I think is like Goldman and BlackRock trade desks are like, all right, go like
run the counter.
Go try to trick the normies. And then they're like, on the other hand, they're like, exit the position, exit. It's like they're lying here and they're just like, get the fuck out.
It's crazy how once it doesn't take long to be in the market that you start seeing the way that people formulate, and these people like the talking heads will formulate their takes. It's a lot of ifs and ands and maybes, but they can say one thing and mean the complete opposite. You just have to dig a little deeper, like, you don't actually know what you're talking about, or we're kind of fucked. So
people are just reading headlines, though. They're not reading.
Oh, for sure. That's something, go take a look. Most articles are written at an 8th grade level these days, and at the highest. So take the time to actually read it. It's there. It's all written there. But yeah, we'll see.
So Friday, England's what? The Bank of England.
I have a feeling the central banks are going to fold on this kind of stance, but there's a similar position, Aaron, and Jeremy, that's being made by Larry Summers, the big Harvard architect that they engineered the quantitative easing deal out of the subprime mortgage crisis. And he's like, yeah, the U.S. has to keep hiking interest rates. They have to keep trying to tame inflation, like disregard these market concerns and stuff like that. So it signals more pain is coming. And if they think they have it under control and that everyone will just suffer, pay higher gas, and then they'll just kind of work it through and we'll get back to the normal things of it. It's incredibly ingenuous because it doesn't properly educate people on how the structure and the system is designed. It's designed off consumption, it's designed on credit and spending. It's designed on like this concept of efficient market theorem that like information naturally sorts out and the free market decides this and that. And really it's just acknowledging it's a centrally planned system that they don't care about, whether you can afford your beef and toilet paper and your gas prices. Like I'm here in LA and the gas is like $7.40.
Oh my God.
And
oh my God.
And I don't know. It makes me proud though of what we do as a group and a collective, because like we've been having a deep analysis and like tracking a lot of these things at a central bank level for like, I've been doing it for years now. So it's like, it makes me like proud that we have that foresight and that like we've done our homework, but at the same time, it's like the work never ends as far as the education that has to happen. So
that, and I hate being right that it dropped.
Oh, yeah,
dude. Yeah. but I know the markets have been kind of reacting crazy. I was reading that article that you had posted on the Synergy chat about the Ethereum burning. That was pretty interesting to me as an investor to Ethereum, not financial advice. But that means what burning means is that they're getting rid of some of the supply of Ethereum that won't come back, right?
Yeah. So for the audience listening, one of our Yeetum analysts, Keith, who he's basically our ETH wizard, and he's a smart guy. Get in the community, meet him. Yeah. So after they implemented proof of stake, and they've integrated these more Ethereum burning protocols. So now people are tracking. There's some sites you can just track on chain to do it. Like I think he was referencing Ultrasound Money, but you can see all this on chain. And essentially, the Ethereum protocol is burned over 1.2 million of Ethereum in one day. So the Ethereum supply went down and it burned that much value, which means it has deflationary properties, which increases this store of value argument from just custodying Ethereum. And the interesting aspect about it is this all happened in a bear market, so like for the people that have been in crypto and, for people listening, I primarily just stick to Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then I, will help you how to do due diligence on other stuff. But we, for the most part, we just stick to the big guys because that's all that matters. And it's this deflationary monetary policy. It reinforces a lot of these conversations we're just having, Vu, about this pension system, the central bank, inflation, deflation, Keynesian economics, Austrian, Greek economics. And what most people are not properly taught, and even people that go through financial curriculums
for sure
at universities.
Yeah, running into a lot of people, even in my field, working in finance, of just not being aware of, what's the actual system and, what's the gears that run it. Just, it's a stock. It goes up. Like, okay, what is the money that has the value in that? What is that even set up with? So definitely can see that.
Yeah, I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they were asking me what was going on with the markets, and I was like, well, they've been pretty volatile. There's a lot of things going on in like the world. I was like, I guess if you're really focusing like on our country alone, you got inflation, you got interest rates being like raised, and they're like, what's inflation mean?
Oh my god.
And they're like 60 something years old.
I was like, all right.
You got how much time you got?
Inflation's the hidden tax we pay when our central bankers and politicians don't know what the fuck they're doing, when they mismanage the economy. That's what it is.
Mismanage the economy. God damn.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, yeah, you
the
don't
supply
see
of money.
Bill getting burned.
What's up?
So you don't see any burning of the dollar bill.
We need to burn off a lot. You got too much. That's the problem.
We just print.
So I can try to find a chart, but that's a big reason why. Like, if you look at a chart with the central bank and their asset purchases with the S&P, it's basically directly correlated. Like when they print money, it goes up. When they stop printing money or they take money out, it goes down.
Yeah.
And
that's what we're seeing right now. What
Yeah.
What was the balance sheet? It went from 4 to 8 trillion. Don't quote me on that. And they've been trying to pull out like $1 billion every month, I think. And they're trying to hit $1 trillion for their balance sheet.
So something around those natures. Don't hold us to those numbers, but yeah, it's like exactly that. It's like
I made it up.
It's all a lie. Yeah, they're slowly trying to tighten it. And it's so funny that we even have these conversations and how big these conversations get when you understand how these banks, corporates, and governments operate, because this concept of the dollar or the euro or the pound, it's like this imaginary trust that can't be verified about government. It's like we can never audit the government's books. We can never audit central bank's accounting systems. We can never.
And that runs the whole show.
And then we're told that they're like gonna.
Oh no, we good.
And they're gonna collect our money and then tell us we're not doing it right. So it's just so bizarre.
Also, taxes, pay that too, boy.
God pay taxes.
Oh lordy.
I hate
I mean, I can tell. I mean, for myself personally, you know, learning about the whole system and you know my place on in the whole cast, if you want to call it that. Like, I kind of feel stuck, you know, and stressed. And I know, so like, I'm not the only one who feels that way. You know, just I talk with people. We have like, you probably do it too. You guys and the listeners have your little Teams chats. You see people like they're checked out. I know they're struggling with bills, not feeling like they're getting paid enough, getting hit at the pump, gas station, everywhere. Do you
Yeah,
guys have
I can
anything
only
that you're
imagine.
doing to kind of deal with that?
Yeah, and I can only imagine the people who are like my age with kids,
Bro, oh my God.
like, or younger than me with kids doing the same exact thing as me or doing something similar. I'm like, bro, like, I couldn't even imagine. That's a whole nother head you have to take care of.
And that's less risk you can take because Aaron,
Mhm.
like when I think about what you're thinking, I feel a lot of that with corporate work. But the thing that gets me going is like I know I'm still building things outside of it. So I guess that like fulfills the fire a bit. But not you know, most people they haven't done anything to like try to offset it or even become a more strategic investor or become more of a, you know, understand entrepreneurship or even if you do want to be an entrepreneur, like all the things you have to learn to just build it right, or like the costs you have to pay to like just basic startup expenses
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Like no way is easy, but it's like that passion is just lost. That like fire, that American soul spirit fire is just dying, and I feel it every day, and
Yeah,
it drives me mad.
I think that's purposeful. I don't know if it's, you know, an outside foreign influence on it, but yeah, the American spirit of like pull yourself up by the bootstraps, create, you know, your own dream and reality to get where you want to be is replaced by this corporate cog
Yeah, the American
factory thing.
dream slogan is dead.
You can bring it back. I just think it's, you know, it's dying. We got, when you meet somebody who has, you're like, oh, it's a breath of fresh air. I'm like, thank God, like you're one of the few.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's because our country has just went full dead set, like graduate high school, college, get a job, work
Get
at the
married.
same job for years, keep leveling up at that job, get married, have children, do the same thing with them.
rat race, get in debt.
And the
that
worst
mortgage.
our parents impose it too. You know, it's like that's the culture that they've like the old, like there's a difference between the old school worker and like the new school worker. And the old school worker's like, the fuck are you complaining about like having to go drive to the office? Like what the fuck are you complaining about? You know, someone's like not talking to you the right way because they're being direct on like, you know, task. You know, it's like stuff like that. And I feel the big thing that's growing that's next, it's just this, it's like we all sense it and we can't make it tangible because it's just it's not easy to grasp. These systems are so complex. Um they make us uncomfortable. And then also you have to do like honest to God work to be able to even like restore that spirit and confidence and like that faith in it, because that's just for the most part it's gone. And
Yeah.
like this concept of like, oh, you know, American democracy, vote, we can just vote and solve it. And it's like, I don't know why are people. I'm genuinely like, someone show me an analysis how voting is gonna fix what we've already created through voting. Like we voted this in place. Like how what? You know what? It's like what the fuck?
Yeah. To touch on what you were saying, it takes a lot of work just to get it back. And, you know, I do envy those guys like Dave Goggins, or like wake up at 4:30 every day, run a marathon before you go to work. Yeah, that's nice. I don't think the average person is going to be able to do that. And so you get discouraged and then just go back to your same 9 to 5, go home, watch Netflix, go to sleep kind of thing. So I challenge for like the normal person listening. You don't have to do that. If you want to, go ahead. If you're one of those crazy people, but you know, make those small incremental changes, do that shadow work, but even if it's as small as just adding in a half an hour walk for the day. You know, you're not going to be able to just go to the gym and slam out 315 day one. So those small incremental changes, that's work for me, you know, just looking at what was my system of processes for the day, was my habits. And okay, at this point, I can make a small change here, do a little test on it, and I feel better. Okay, we're going to implement that now, do a little science experiment every month.
Yeah, I fully agree. Big facts. Everyone listening, apply that. I need to do that better and breathe along the way. You know, it's like the fun along the way is the fun part, and like the journey and community around you to support and facilitate that is integral to the like continued success of that, because we all get burned out. We all wake up one day as we're like, you know, I just want to fucking sleep, or I just like, can I just fucking lay down and get up later or something? You know, we all have that, so it's natural too. But at the same time, there's cause and effect through our own reinforced behaviors, like Aaron's saying, that we can consciously manipulate and improve.
And the positivity that comes from doing something you don't want to do, like once you accomplish that task, whatever it was, you're like, oh, I feel so much better.
Oh, it's that dopamine release.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. It's you have to kind of go on a dopamine cleanse. Your body evolved to, you know, knocking out tasks. You feel good. If you are using this phone and just hitting that pleasure button all day, a walk in the park, you're not going to get with anything, because I can just go on TikTok. I don't need to go outside and get the same release.
Yeah, it's like it's like if we just if we're only living this like external digital life and we don't truly restore back to nature, or, you know, return to monkeys, what we say, but it's like if we don't restore nature and understand how we build our nature back with these tools to enhance us rather than control us, sex is meaningless, friendships meaningless, business is meaningless, community's meaningless. You know, it's like things become very shallow and like hollow in all dimensions of life if we don't do the active work to build those deep roots. And that's
hard. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. That's hard to do, especially when everybody else is not doing that. You're going to get dogged for, oh, why weren't you on TikTok? I don't see you posting on Instagram too much. It's like, okay.
But those people that are doing that type of dogging, like, oh my gosh, like think about their mindset and what they're thinking about all the time.
I don't want to.
Yeah, it's literally like, oh, I wonder what Instagram's doing right now. Oh, I wonder what Instagram's like. If you took their phone away from them, they'd probably actively try to like have a habit of like reaching for their pocket, pulling.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah. I'm just as guilty as that.
Yeah, I'm like out here thinking on the daily, like, all right, how do I war game my tribe to like benefit us, and then also like have strategic positioning for the storm we're in. You know, it's like, oh my God, it's just, I couldn't imagine like when you're purely on that like social consciousness of just like, hey, I need to, yeah, it's just consume, spend money. And then if I don't maintain that, then my status goes down, and then my self-esteem goes down, even though they never had anything to do with each other to begin with, other than just your internal mechanisms of your mind, body, and soul, you know. So
yeah, well, I'm gonna paraphrase it, but it's like you can't save anybody if you're drowning yourself. So I think that's at least a personal challenge I'm doing, making sure that my energy, my intentions, and at least my baseline's all right, and then going from there.
There was a good song that we listened to last night, and Jimmy brought it to my attention, but it's by Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard, and the title of it is "Deep Water is the Best Mirror."
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was like, no, that's a good title. And then Jimmy was like, damn. And then he just broke it down. He was like, dude, it's like when you go the deepest and like to something, like that's when you're really gonna find out. Like that's when you're gonna find out who
oh shit.
Yeah. And
it's deeper than just looking at the reflection.
Yeah. So the deepest water is the best mirror, because that's the best reflection you're gonna get of yourself. And then we listened to the song, and sure enough, they're just talking about like getting into some shit that just like really tested them.
What's the song name?
Deep water is the best mirror.
Really?
Something like that. I think it is. I would have to double check.
You know, that speaks deeply to me because like I feel like I've been in deeper mental waters than most people usually experience, for better or for worse. But that is the fact about understanding our human experience and limitations is we have to test the limit and we have to go as deep as we can go, and it
Yeah.
might kill us, but you're sure as hell going to learn and have a story to tell when you take back. And the hard part is it's a never ending journey. And then also you never want to like most people, they don't want to go deep with you, like
Right.
most people don't want to go deep. They're like, no, I'm comfortable in my cave. Like, I don't want to go deeper into the sunlight or into the unknown, the great unknown, and unfortunately, like, I think that's a part of the mentality people need to start adopting, just from a pure survival standpoint. It's like, hey, embrace that unknown, because if you can handle 10% or 1% more unknown than the person next to you on a purely just just societal basis, that 1% is going to show out when that unknown is truly in your face and in your neighbor's face, about who can manage it better, who can deal with it better, and who can conquer the adversity better.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Yeah, and going deep and opening up, to the people you talk to too. I think people just surface level exist. There's that deeper humanity you're not tapping into, even with talking with yourself. So yeah, just circling back to do that shadow work, actually being honest with yourself, with the people around you, because it's only going to benefit you in the end.
The end. Hey, well, we're coming out of time, boys. Y'all have any closing words or?
Dang, just gotta say that was good. I think it's called Deep Water is a song.
No. It's by Merle
No?
Haggard and
Merle Haggard?
and Willie Nelson,
Dang,
from their Ponching Lefto album they did with each other.
not showing.
I might be butchering the name, but it's something around it. It's got that deep meaning. I'll be able. I looked it up and I couldn't find it either, so I'm definitely butchering the name of it.
No, I got it. Still water runs the deepest.
That's what it is. That's
All right.
Still
All right.
water.
that's even trippier, because that's like a
Yeah.
mind reference.
Yes.
Like when you can still your mind, you hear
Mm,
and see things
I'm about
about
to
your
dive in.
shadow self that you can't normally see.
Still water runs the deepest. Yep. It was something that's what I knew. I was like butchering the analogy, but y'all understood it.
oh, for sure.
Yeah. Goddamn, boys, I'm tired of shit.
Dude, go sleep, bro.
Dude, yeah, I'm about to go cook some dinner and then I'll go to sleep, and then I have a flight at 6 a.m. So gotta get to the airport early.
Hey, safe travels, my
Sheesh,
man.
bro. Hey. Wait, so Jeremy, you get back that Friday of the lane 8?
Yeah.
All right, bet.
Yeah.
I'll be in Austin then, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I gotta find some party favors for that night.
Water, holy water.
Water. Lots of water.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Lane 8 just punches out like a 2-hour set, bro.
Bro, it's gonna be awesome.
If it's
I'm hoping
bro, if it's anything like Zoo or how Lane 8 was last year when I saw him, like, I mean, I wore a football jersey to see Zoo Sunday, and my jersey was soaking wet.
Soaked. That was a great show.
And, yeah, I mean, I was dancing my biscuits off. I don't know if you saw me, Aaron, but I was like moving side to side.
That was great. He was great. I was right there with you.
Hitting the Dougie, bro. Like,
Sweet.
but shoot.
Yeah.
All right, boys. That was a good one. Y'all know the drill, people who are listening. All of our links are down below. Give us a follow and a shout out. And again, thank you for listening. Yeet and vibe.
Yeet and
vibe.
vibe, y'all. Be good.
Woo!
Skiddy.